Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Inglorious Bards. I am your Serpoofler. Hi, I'm Tom. Good to have you here. We are excited to have you here. We are coming to you live on twitch.tv/IngloriousBards. We're also on YouTube if you want to check out the video there, and on every podcast platform known to man. Thanks again for being here, and a quick shout out to Nico Cubed for being a patron supporter for about a year and a half. Thanks so much, Nico. And if you want to help support the show, consider just dropping a few bucks at patreon.com/IngloriousBards from a lot of bonus content. We have been off for a little bit for some summertime. We are back at it here, and we are excited to get going. Let's have a real quick introduction of our characters, and I'll ask Cole. Cole, if you could do any other profession other than fighting, what profession would you do?
Are there other professions other than fighting? If I was actually able to choose anything to do ever, I would probably sew pants.
Okay.
There's not enough pants in the world with the right quality for the people that need pants all the time.
Not expecting
Most
that.
everyone has two legs.
Moving
right?
on. Aragus, our halfling bard. Same question. If you were to do anything other than singing, what would you do?
Oh, I'd be challenging a dragon to a game of charades, I think. But you don't want to lose that battle.
All right. Sitting next to you is our warforged, gregarious cleric, Vessel. Vessel, what profession would you like to do other than being a cleric?
I would be a healer.
Okay. And then we have Fiona. You are a tinkering artificer gnome. What would you do other than being an artificer?
I don't understand the question. Creating is life.
Okay. Next to you is Valamir. Valamir, as a human wizard of skill, what would you do other than wizardry stuff?
Sorcery.
Okay. Well selected. And last but certainly not least is Cole. You are our Goliath paladin. What other than Caven. So sorry. Other than being a Goliath paladin, what would you do?
I would play with puppies.
Puppies. Okay.
Here, I thought running a soup kitchen would be it.
No, it would be freaking of mice and men with those puppies. So, without further ado, we're going to dive into our adventures with one further ado, and that is a recap of what happened last session from Seth.
Hello! The heroes minus Cole are on the road to Kanebren. Things are going well until they hear a far-off cry for help. What they find is this manic pixie caught in some sort of magical cage. Her name is Lizzie, and as soon as our heroes approach, they are set upon by a dozen or so gnolls. The gnolls put up quite a fight, but our heroes are victorious. They continue on to Kanebren with Lizzie in tow, unfortunately. Luckily, she disappeared as soon as they got close to the city. The party takes a ferry across into the city proper. Cue a montage of the churchy ones churching it up, and the others going on a whirlwind shopping spree full of fun! Frustration, and one ominous vision of Valamir's childhood home. The heroes drop in on the headquarters of the Queen's Cabal and are initially met with resistance, but they are eventually let in. And that, my friends and foes, is where the adventure begins.
Our adventure continues in the city of Kanebren, the capital of Calavier, the largest, most grand city in all of Varennes. The city itself is surrounded by about a half to a mile of beautiful blue water all the way around it. The city is tall, the tallest buildings in all the world, with multiple pathways at multiple levels, with tons of people. It is the peak of civilization. On the outskirts of that water are various docks and other buildings that help facilitate the city itself. Departing from one of those docks is a vessel. It is a barge. It is a fancy-looking barge, though, with railings and some prestigious guests who have bought passage to cross. Somehow bumbling in there without actually paying a single coin is Cole. Cole, who is standing at the bow of this barge, watching in awe as you see pulling the barge is a large 15-foot water elemental just underneath the water, weirdly amorphous shaped, weird little arms and flailing little leg type thing as it's pulling with weird magical chains connected to the barge, one of the fancier ways to arrive at the city. And Cole, trying to catch up to his friends somewhere in the city, looks at this crazy scene and says,
Hang on! Hang on! That's not... You're not doing it! You missed one! Dang it! Go to the next one.
And he's trying to deal with what he's saying. Our rest of our heroes have just walked into the quarters of the realm of the Queen's Cabal, a fancy multiple-story structure within the city itself. You have gotten your way in by dropping the name of Valamir and the last name as well.
I believe it was.
I believe it was. And then you were quickly ushered.
I have the quote if you would like.
You don't have the quote.
I do. Well,
do you?
Yeah, what you said to Valamir was, excuse me, that's episode 15. We got to go to adventure.
You do not have the quote.
Cabal is always eager to speak with your family, is what you said.
All right.
Probably the Cabal.
All right. Cool. The group is being let in. The place easily has a magical air about it. The sense that several of you spellcasters have had upon arriving at the city is a little sense of chaos to your magic. And what that means game mechanic wise is if you ever cast a level 3 spell, we will add a chaotic mechanic to it. You do not feel that while within the confines of the Queen's Cabal. Things are much more stable there. So it's a little bit more reassuring. The place is dark, but lit up by little blue continual lights here and there. There are side alcoves with cool magical statues, crystals that slowly rotate in the air. There's also crystally sounds that tingle off in the distance. There are multiple incenses that hit you from different senses and different aromas at different times, yet they're not all blending together at once. You're walking across a loud, incredibly shiny marble floor, and at times, some of you who are trained in perception can even sense some of the marble shape seems to slightly alter as it's walked upon, which is both cool and disconcerting based upon your preference.
Cool. Ah!
It's the whole group here except for Cole, who is wandering the streets trying to find his friends. But the rest of the group is here. As you are being walked through, you see a fussy fellow come running up and saying, "Oh, it's my friends!" And it is Reginald Humfort, the gentleman from the Queen's Cabal you first met outside the city of... your city, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. Anyways, he comes up. I heard you were here.
Indeed we are.
What brings you to the... I assume it's me, and I am at your disposal.
Yes, amongst some other needs that we may have. We are traveling to other cascading
Arcs? Oh.
Yes. We have referred to them differently in the past. But,
Well,
I
that's
understand
good
you
news.
refer to them as cascading arcs, so shall I then?
We'll use the simpler term for you.
Arcane anchor, I believe, is more appropriate, but it's not my world. So.
It says honorary professor, doesn't it?
Weren't you wearing your honorary professor
Yes.
robes? All right.
I refer to them as professor robes, but yes.
All right. And nothing else. I've been doing a great deal of research, even reading one of your father's books. I'm so glad to see you here. We've been
Excellent.
having more trouble than we expected with our event outside the city.
Indeed, I would be interested to hear about these challenges, and perhaps I could lend my aid.
Quite possibly. But if you're closing the arcs, that would be great.
Indeed.
As I was kind of tasked with that some time ago.
And how is that going for you, Reginald?
I've been delayed, and my emphasis has been more on the research side, and my superior wants me to focus more on the research side, and just hasn't given me the opportunity for other tasks.
Those who can't
Indeed.
do, those who can't teach.
Indeed, indeed. And perhaps your research will come in handy to me, and it might be something that perhaps could lead me to further insights and other actions while I'm out in the world closing these arcs.
Oh, well, great, wonderful. How would you like to begin?
Let's begin by looking at your research, Reginald.
Okay, come right into my office then. And he escorts Valamir personally, taking him by the hand just quickly and then letting go, and taking over towards his office. I've been trying to figure out the coefficients, which don't make any sense to me still, and I've been doing the math over and over, and it is so challenging.
I would imagine it would be challenging for you, Reginald.
Your deception must be super high. Your arcana is low, but the deception is super high.
It's just, I mean, I have a -1 charisma. I mean, you know, I gotta lean into it every now and again.
He takes you into his office, which is a simple desk with multiple small little chalk slates on there with chalk dust and erasers and chalk, a couple big boards with tons of Einsteinian equations and drawings all over it, and you see some of it is trying to replicate some of your father's works and ideas. You can see where he's kind of wrong in some ways already, but it also makes you a little proud that your dad was farther ahead than anyone else in this realm. And he's like, yes, so we thought we had it completely closed, our ley line fissure here just outside the city, but it's been proving to be a bit of a challenge. I've been focused so much on this, again, as my superior wants us to focus on this particular fissure, and not worry about the others. My concern is if we don't focus on the aligning the cascade arcs around Calavier, that things might get worse further outside of Calavier. But she wants us focusing here on Calavier in our capital, Kanebren, first and foremost. If there's magic that falls within the city, then everything is lost, as she likes to put it. And we've got people out there. We've got half a dozen of us wizards. Cabalists? Is that a word? Cabalists. We have half a dozen of our people out there. It's just been a draining affair.
Indeed. Remind me of, I've been curious about a few things within the Cabal itself. If you would be so kind as to entertain a few questions not quite yet related to, and like Valamir's expression is sort of pained, what you have going on here.
Of course. No, don't touch that, he says to Vessel.
Don't worry, it's all wrong, Vessel. You can touch it.
And I don't think there was musical notes on this corner of the board either, he says, erasing
what you
some...
have there is really not going to matter if that's added in.
He takes the chalk away from Aragus as well.
Well, now, hold on a second.
Quite the limerick here.
Is Raffelin, is that your
Raffelin.
superior? Raffelin?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And how many members of the Cabal are there? would you say, approximately?
Once he starts counting already, that's disconcerting on his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 11, I would say, full-time, and then there's a few additional folks we've asked for help from time to time, like yourself.
Indeed. And how long has the Cabal been established? I'm curious, because it seems to be a newer endeavor. Am I correct in that?
Oh, yeah, less than a year.
Ah, indeed. And how did this come to be, the Cabal?
It was a creation by Ms. Daynor herself. We needed something more magical, making the kingdom a better place for wizards and all mankind was how I was sold on it.
Indeed. And like as I'm talking, I start like I pick up a piece of chalk and just start like Xing out things that are wrong and just kind of walking around just now.
Make
No.
2 Arcana rolls, please.
One of them's red chalk, right?
Didn't even have that.
Who's that Stairway to Heaven here? Is that's it's Stargate.
I'm gonna go ahead and use a hero point on one of those at
Okay.
least, or do I need to? Should I reroll both or just one?
No, 2 separate rolls.
Okay. So I rolled a natural 1 for one of them, which will be rerolled.
Okay.
The other one is going to be a 16,
Oh, okay.
and then the other one will now be a 19.
Ooh, that's a huge difference. But
That's
the
a
hero
big swing.
point is gone.
Yes.
You have gleaned that this is definitely cobbled together from multiple bits of your father's works. And you can see he has a book of your father's there open on his desk. He is struggling to totally grasp it for sure. You get a sense of maybe some. I'm going to come back to that. There might be something else.
Okay.
Some thoughts are growing in your head.
Sure.
I'll say it as that. And you're making those changes, sweeping changes. Well, that took me all 2 days to figure out.
Well, that's unfortunate. That was a waste of 2 days, my friend.
Wow. Are you sure?
Quite.
At least a 16.
I mean,
Is there a map similar to our map here in the studio, kind of that they have in this office? What Aragus is looking for is a map of the already placed arcane arcs, the
Cascading arcs?
cascading arcs. Excuse me. I'm guessing in all of this work, he's got a map of Varen or at least Calavier.
Yeah, you look, you don't see anything like that, and then after a while you see there is on one of the chalkboards a squared off don't erase section that has a node outline, if you will, that starts to take the shape of Varen. So it's a circle here with a line to another circle with another line to another circle, and you go, wait a minute, if that could be Kanebren, okay, then those are the 3, and then that's one up in Dakarath, and that one's over there in Thave. So you start to see, and you have a rough outline of probably a score, 20 different waypoints.
Okay.
Leyline junction points.
Okay. So looking at that while they're kind of talking, Aragus is just like thumbing to himself, just like, and he'll use message, a cantrip, to say to Valimir, kind of suspiciously, with a tone, he'll say, they've only been here for a year and they've already got this many locations marked on a map. It's very suspicious, and it seems they have the ear of the queen.
and Valimir kind of,
Like my back is like
Yeah.
to you, and it's like
sort of like nods that through as a normal part of his thing, but it's, to,
he sees that you're gathering all this
Yeah.
information, kind of sees your head
Yeah.
start to spin,
yeah.
and says that to you.
And Valimir, in a generous mentor moment, takes whatever most simplest formula he can find that's correct. It's like, oh, you did well there, Reginald.
Oh. Thank you.
showed your work and everything.
It's just my name.
That's worth 300 points.
And where is
you spelled it wrong.
Ms. Daynor at the moment? Is she about?
She's in our main library, I believe.
Excellent. We should probably speak with her at some point. Now, I've not corrected anything. I've just erased everything wrong.
Okay. So leaving just a third of all of his work for several weeks behind, untouched.
The ley lines blank, blank, power source blank, blank, blank.
Do not forget, blank, blank, blank.
Do not erase. Gone. Completely gone.
He says, "Oh yeah, I'll take you right away. I'm sure she'd be happy to meet you," and takes you gently by the hand, and then lets go again.
Okay.
How you want to take that? All right,
I mean,
take it as it comes. All right.
I'm not going to acknowledge it in any way. I just sort of like maybe a confused look. Perhaps a neutrally confused
A confused,
look.
interested, kind of neutral.
Argus walks over and gives
I
him an
didn't hear
athletic
interested.
slap on the ass. That's no mage hand.
All high fives from Aragus are on the ass.
That's true. That's true.
He does not like the word high five. He gets pissed off because he can't get up there.
Mid five.
Kind of a 2.5. All right. You are walked across a main opening area. You see there is a exhausted looking wizardly type who is snoring on a very expensive sofa just in this main room of incredibly glossy marbled floor. As you walk across, he's snoring loudly. And the group is marched across, still with Vessel, Fiona, Aragus, Caven, and Valamir. You are brought into a large library where there are a ton of books, a second floor with balcony railings with more books, and there are big long tables, old books. It smells great. There's probably even a giant X on a floor at the bottom you can only see from above, Indiana Jones style.
X never ever marks the spot, I'm told.
Some creepy old guy stamping things in unison. And but no, the place is relatively empty except for a elven woman at the far end of the library, and behind her is a big, huge pictured window with a lot of beautiful light hitting her from behind. She's quite striking and looks up, and she has several books that are open that she's reading with some glasses, which she lowers as you enter and says, "The son of the leyline researcher and the guardian of Solene. Quite the unexpected visit today."
Oh, well, we are often unexpected, as it were.
I thought you'd say that. Come in. Come in.
If we were unexpected, how did you expect this?
Your question is unexpected.
However, I anticipated it.
And she says, "Reginald, could you get us some more chairs?" And he says, "Yes." And he runs off and comes in later with a bunch of loud chairs, gets one each over, gently grabs you by the hand and escorts you over to your chair and helps push it in to make sure you're comfortable. And then he runs off again. And she says, "It is unexpected, but still good to see you. We've had some challenges with your family, and now we have you here. I'm hoping with good news."
Well, I'm not sure that I have as good a news as one would hope, but I am continuing to seek out different cascading arcs and draw them into coherence. And we are passing through on our way to another location, and I had wished to stop here to discuss your progress and how we may perhaps further continue to aid each other.
We could absolutely use your aid. I am coming at this from a respectful attitude that you do not hold your father's opinions.
Well, Well, I have bad. No. Indeed, my opinions are my own, and they do at times differ from my father's. And the fact that I am not currently trying to slay any wizard around us should perhaps.
Would you mind if I were to divine a spell to verify what magic you may have brought with you?
It's like an arcane easy pass.
Yeah. Explain to me exactly what you are seeking.
I am seeking to know if you are friend or foe, and I desperately hope one versus the other.
And what to you is a friend, and then what also would be a foe?
They lie on the same knife's edge. Those who would come here to finish their father's work, and those who would come here to finish their father's work.
I assure you, I am here to finish my father's work.
And I see you have brought an entourage, which is not normally accepted, but these are unusual times, and I'm willing to accept some risks, but would like to see perhaps what kind of protective magics and wards you and your associates may have on you in preparation for some sort of altercation here, unless that is an issue for you.
I do not particularly enjoy unknown magics being cast upon myself or my companions. I cannot speak for them. I'd be, perhaps if I have yet some more information, I would be willing to subject myself to such. But
Reginald comes in, squeakily pushing one of his large whiteboards on wheels, the one that's least been assaulted by the eraser. We've been working together, trying to figure out this equation of the ley line magic and how it all adds up and comes together. And she says, Reginald, would you be so kind as to awaken Owen outside, please? He's like, oh.
as you can well imagine, wizards casting unknown wizard spells upon other wizards is not.
That's how you get AIDS.
It is indeed how
You're casting how they've been casting and who they've cast on. There's an aid spell as well, too.
And as some authorities have chosen to recently murder my father, I would be a bit, call me leery.
I can.
So I just need some assurances from you before I submit to such a test.
What assurances do you need? You see the sleepy wizard has arrived and walked in, yawning. And she says, Owen, if you would just mind waiting outside just for a moment, please.
Come in now, get out! What exactly will you be casting upon me?
I will be casting to see what spells you have upon you and upon your friends that are active this very moment. I fear that perhaps you may have different intentions than Mr. Humford has led me to believe, and I've been very cautious in getting to where I am here, and I have invited you into our abode. But there are some precautions I probably should have taken before letting you in even further.
Probably. However, we are here now.
Let the games begin.
I am willing to submit myself to such, but I speak only for myself. My companions must comply of their own accord.
She says, then I will cast a quick spell upon you, and she then doesn't even stand up, sitting in her chair. She takes off her glasses and waves her hand, and a little bit of blue washes out. You recognize it as a divination-style spell, and she closes her eyes for a brief moment and says, I sense no protective wards, and I am grateful for that. The rest of you, I would ask for you to wait outside in the main hall, unless you do not mind me revealing what magic is upon you as well, right?
I can assure you I'm wart-free. You said warts, right?
D.
Go ahead and check.
You know, HPV is 90% of all Varan
He
population.
pulls his pantaloons back up.
You said strip search.
Would you say strip search?
I will submit to a physical examination only.
Can you dispel her people?
Oh, I've got something magical you want to see.
Asking for a friend.
I'm all right with it.
All right, she
You got
casts a
to
spell
give
upon.
trust to gain trust, right?
Yeah.
She casts a spell upon you, and she says, "I'm sensing no wards, but something that is connecting the two of you." You seem confused. by
Valamir
this.
and I? Okay. Is that...
What have you
Is that
been
where...
Tim's AIDS theory starts to gain traction.
Do you find... Do you
See
find...
Vessel glaring at Valamir.
No!
That's my
You
ward.
have caused quite a fissure in our group.
Do you find that worrisome?
She says, it is worrisome if you are not aware of it. And you, sir, she says to Caven, shall you step outside?
I have nothing to hide.
She casts her spell. You feel a little bit of a tingling around your shoulders.
Except that.
Forgot! Incognito magic mode!
I see you're searching.
So many X's.
Clowns!
I can tell that someone's checking Caven's search history.
This is not good. He draws his blade no matter where he's at.
See a dark cloud
I
coming.
knew I should have cleared my cache.
I cast clear cash. And she says, a similar effect between the three of you. Shall we continue?
Oh yeah, Eric is submitted. He was just joking about that.
She casts upon that, on you, and then she nods. Indeed. Can you check me again?
Little lower.
Vessel?
Proceed.
She casts upon you. I am sensing a connection between all five of you. It is a small little puzzle that, again, you seem confused by. I'm sensing that you are all being monitored.
We did all have the chicken last night.
You are
So-
being observed
We're being scried.
in an unfocused fashion, but narrowing in.
Indeed.
Is this something you can get rid of?
I can, but I can't prevent it from starting again, however it started to begin with, but I can end it now.
That would be preferable if we could do so.
That will take a little bit of time, and she says, Owen! Owen steps in, and she kind of gives this, like, don't kill everyone type signal. And she-
I gave you the kill gesture.
no, kill the killing sign.
No, this is kill. This is coffee.
We talked about this every time. Remember the middle school coffee shop?
Green means go ahead and don't do it.
She says, would you get some more of the dust we were using for dispelling? We may need this at the end of our meeting here. He says, all right. And he runs off.
Spelling dust.
She says, all right. I am now doubly sure of your intent. Then I will tell you, we are facing a bit of a crisis. If you have not noticed, there is magic instability, and it has become our primary focus.
We have indeed noticed such, and we are see that it has not yet affected the confines of the Cabal itself, but Kanebren at large is seeming to have some ill effects already.
I have made a mistake, perhaps a large one, in thinking that we had resolved this, in working against your father, thinking that that was the source or impetus, when really it was a fissure here outside our city that seems to be getting larger and larger. We thought we had it maintained, and that is not the case.
Your father was impetus?
Not before I was born.
They have a dust for it, you know.
But as a wizard ages, sometimes impetus does occur. There are some spells to address those things, but they can be a bit expensive.
Concentration up to 4 hours?
Then you would have to see an elder wizard in that case.
Flesh to stone! Flesh to stone!
I knew something was out there. That was great. Oh dear.
Indeed. Many people were mistaken about the nature of what would occur when my father was killed. And that is perhaps cataclysmic, let's say.
I have not ruled that out, but I do not believe that to be the case.
Well, you have been mistaken before.
I have. And my mistake I have also been focusing on was thinking, adjusting these cascade arcs that are out of alignment, and possibly generating this mana fissure here near the city would simply get it back into place. Reginald's whole theory, and one of the reasons we brought him on board, was getting these realigned. Why they were unaligned, we do not know. And now that it's clear that we need to focus not on those, that it is a drop in the bucket, and we must focus on putting constant magical energies over weeks, months, and it may be perhaps years to maintaining control over this fissure and slowly bringing it back in. This is not a cut that will heal with a band-aid or a healing potion. This is a break that will take some time to heal. Valamir, you know that to be wrong based on the equations. You know that from what you saw and what you did not fill in, the cascading arcs are critically important to this.
And she was saying what is?
She thought it was the case. Mm-hmm. Now she says it's already too big of a deal, this wound in the magic outside the city, and so it just needs to be tended to and cared to constantly, vigilantly by wizards. Sending wizards out to deal with these things is a waste of time.
Does she know that?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Valamir's looking at Reginald, can you bring in a little more of your work, please?
Oh, yes! And he goes running off. Hits the door a little bit on the way out.
I am curious what exactly has brought you to the change in conclusion, moving away from the cascading arcs being the main area of focus.
Well, based on Reginald's research, there's a laughter from somewhere in the table. There's a grumble from Valamir already. From his research, the amount of magic that would be coming in from these arcs would be insignificant to continue to see the increase in the chaos. And stopping them now, it would be closing the barn door after the horse is already out.
Oh, inside jokes.
So, we have a dedicated team that is currently on the site. They are working their dispelling magic constantly. We have to rotate them in and out when we can back here for recovery. And the politics, the queen, she understands there's a problem, but she doesn't understand the value. And her views are what what can be done this week. She's not thinking years ahead. So if you would like to help, truly help, then we would be able to provide you, Valimir, yourself, accommodations here, a possible entry into the Cabal if you so deem it and feel our goals are aligned with yours, and have you join in the magical rotation and helping keeping this down. That would help not only Kanebren or Calavier, but might help the magic of Varen for years to come. That is my pitch to you.
Indeed. And
A squeaky another chalkboard is brought in. Sorry, that's my donkey chalkboard.
and the one with the coefficients, please, as well, Reginald.
Oh, yes. Why didn't I think of that? He runs off. Are you just trying to keep him out of the room? Damn it! I just realized that. Damn it.
I just try to get all the work in one place so I can do something.
He was so excited to be part of it.
He realizes that he reached for the last board.
Wait a son of a.
Again, I am interested in inquiring a few things. First, and it seems like, as you have indicated, your conclusions are drawn upon the equations here that Reginald has worked upon. Is that accurate?
I would say, to add some credibility here that I think you would take to heart, based on Reginald Humfert's equations and your father's work that he has used. Can we make that disgruntled sound the show title?
Well, that is the interesting part about my father and his works, is he often almost presented magic in a very specific way that
I mean no disrespect, but I'm sure it is research that does not take a lifetime to go through to figure out.
and you were once sure of other things as well, yet here we are.
Oh wait, no.
Coffee?
Oh, the other side.
And just to sort of take a different tact while I'm waiting for the last board that will be necessary for me to enlighten you on a few things, let's say. How exactly did you earn the ear of the queen and create this cabal here? I am curious of the history and nature of this organization in some ways. Any organization I would choose to join, I would wish to know as much as I can about, of course.
Her slightly curious defensive look changes to more of a smile. She says, that's fair enough then. I came to the conclusion that the princess, having an aged, doddering old wizard from her mother's reign as the only ear, and not current to much of what's going on in the magical world or the world itself, was not in the best interest of anyone. I set about to become connected with various political figures and earn their respect, and suggested after some time that my relationship with the Queen could blossom into something stronger, where it is not one person that gathers information and one person that acts, and everything that the Queen gets is solely reliant on one, but based on a group. She can speak to anyone. She can speak to the representative, me. It's her choosing, but to have a resource of magicians for the kingdom is less susceptible to archaic thoughts and designs or troubling machinations or just inefficiencies.
Indeed.
At the same time, there are many other people out there that would not like to have that happen, or would like to abuse a series of scholastic wizards who have the Queen's ear. So we like to keep to ourselves.
Indeed.
We
and
do not
that
get the
is-
visitors like we do today.
Indeed, and that is in part the nature of why I am questioning you in this way, is to ensure your sincerity and your genuineness in your efforts to accomplish what you state you are.
Then I'm taking you have talked to the master of the city guard here in the city, and that is why you are hesitant in talking to us.
What would the master of the guard of the city have to say on this matter?
Well, then I take it you have not. He and I have butted heads many times, and the Cabal does not always see eye to eye with what the city guard sees. It's a complex situation of what is best for the kingdom and sometimes the world versus what is good for the city streets here in the city
Indeed.
versus what is good for the Queen's next party. Different people have different interests, and it is challenging to juggle them.
If I may, consult with my companions for a moment before I...
Sure, I'll go see what's keeping Reginald so long.
Thank you.
And she leaves.
There are many things wrong with the equations that they have written here. As far as I can tell, they seem sincere in their efforts and desires to aid in this pathway. And I am about to enlighten them on their errors, unless anyone feels in a compelling way that that would be an egregious mistake.
It may not come across very great.
Well, hopefully the wizards can put their egos aside and be humble in the moment, as I would be, and understand that their knowledge is insufficient for the job at hand, and that they must take a new tact.
What if we were to repair one of these cascading arcs and then come back? Wouldn't that give you proof?
I believe we already have repaired one of the cascading arcs.
You have not repaired a
But they
cascading
still...
arc.
yeah.
Didn't we? Where, when Vessel healed, what was
No.
that?
That was a rift within a ley line. The cascading arc is a device that is used to help maintain it that have gotten misaligned, 3 of them. Also, that was your other role that Seth has now prompted. You believe there is another huge problem in what you're stating that may make this entirely impossible. You believe that if you close an arc, you only have 3-4 hours or so before all 3 would need to be aligned and help close this rift in Kanebren, or they will all just open back up again and possibly even create a 4th. And if
They
you
have
try
to be
again,
done
then a 5th.
simultaneously.
And the 3 are... Do I know where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ganderlock, Castle
Ganderlock.
Lethano, and Port Heath.
Okay.
Kind of a triangle of
Right.
Calavier.
Ganderlock.
Castle Lethano.
So to repair the wound, all 3 must be aligned simultaneously.
And Port Heath.
Ganderlock Temple. City of Port Heath.
You look at Fiona's notebook.
She is a good
Is this,
note taker.
has he known this for long, or is that something he's just...
He's known that for the last 15 minutes. He's just sitting there and do the equations. Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. If you carry the 3.
So while you ask us if we're okay with this, are you writing this stuff on the board, or are you going to do that with them?
I have
or-
not started
Okay.
conveying anything on the board yet.
And you also believe if you do that, it will become very clear. Again, ego, but then it's now in their hands.
Yeah,
They will be able to read it and then make sense of it,
right.
which could be good or bad, depending on how you take it.
Well, Valimir, it's simply a matter of how much you trust this sort.
If they all have to be repaired at the same time or pretty close without teleportation magic, there's no way we can do it unless we all 2 by 2 go separate directions.
What
Even
if
then, the nature of being able to close them may not be
Yeah.
within all
Yes, we don't
groups.
exactly know what it is we're going up against.
we are already heading to Canderlock?
Yes.
There is a group of the Cabal here.
Yes.
And
And- sorry.
we have friends that could go to Port Heath.
Yes,
Perhaps-
but if this cabal is as powerful as they say, and we know that there is teleportation magic, Almithra wouldn't let us use it without spending a fortune, but maybe they have the resources or the power to do it. Because like Valamir said, he might be the only one that can close them.
Indeed, and with the nature of the way Reginald has written these equations, there's a clear and fundamental lack of understanding of my father's work, I'm afraid, and they will never attain the knowledge needed to be able to fix what is actually occurring.
Unless you teach them.
Exactly.
Do you
And-
mind if I have a word with Danar? Damar? Damar?
Rothlin Danar.
Danar.
Yeah, I believe I believe that would be fair considering the tests that she has put each of us through.
Yeah, and she's just outside in the main area.
Listening.
No,
yeah.
he's gonna step out and then go find seed.
Owen, can you go fetch Ms. Daynor, please?
Fetch. Oh, sorry. Yes. He walks off grumbling. And he returns with the person you requested.
Ms. Daynor, our companion Caven Boulderfall here, I am wishing to aid you, and I would be honored to be a member of this cabal, but my companion Caven would wish a few words with you prior to such. If I have gathered his meaning correctly, he is wishing to do a similar divination upon you, because as we have seen, the world is not always what we wish or think it should be, and as you are concerned about our motives, we too concern ourselves with others' motives as the potential fate of the world is upon us.
That's understandable. I will say that I agree if there's something similar he wishes to cast, but I would also say that there would need to be a vote within the Cabal, the Queen's Cabal, to get you in, and there would be some discussion needed within our rank, as there are a few members that are a little hesitant about your family name.
As would be predicted.
What is it that you seek? She says to the paladin.
You recognized the Guardian of Solene. What is your relationship with Solene and her temple?
The relationship is non-existent outside of limited, respectful political engagements from time to time. The church is powerful and certainly has a huge place within the city and kingdom. I do not want to be disrespectful, but they do not move as agilely as we need to, and they do not see things with the shades of gray that the Cabal sometimes needs to view things. And in some discussions I have had with the High Priest, it's become clear that they could potentially be more obstacle against their own best interest in slowing things down.
I understand your perception. Do you know many of the priests of Solene, or only here in Kanebren?
I do not know many.
It has been my experience that the temples and the priests who serve them vary from location to location as far as their devotion to Solene or whether or not they seek the gratitude of man over their patron saint.
These are interesting words to hear from a guardian of Solene.
I am a guardian of Solene because she chose me to be. Not because anyone put me in that position, but she did herself. And so therefore I do not bow nor serve the priesthood, the temples. I serve only Solene.
Also interesting words from a guardian. And curious, did Solene put me in my position? How is your take on that?
That I do not know.
Oh.
And he would like to do a concentration spell of Detect Good and Evil.
Okay.
And it takes 10 minutes.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
So can that happen while the conversation is going on?
No, it's gotta be
okay.
an honest
Um,
spell.
If you may wait here with me for a short time. And he begins to just close his eyes and meditate and begin.
Start casting.
Is
Okay.
there someone that could perhaps bring us some tea in the meantime?
Speaking of which, your friend Reginald has brought in the other chalkboard.
Excellent, Reginald. And did you bring my father's work with you, the one that was on the table there?
Oh, no.
If you would be so kind as to retrieve that as
Certainly.
well.
Certainly. Did Aragus have something? You look like you were doing something.
I really think Reginald should learn a thing or two.
Oh,
from this.
we have 10 minutes. It'll be fine. He'll learn very soon, and he's already learning an important lesson as we speak. So
What's that lesson?
that he has a lot to learn.
In those 10 minutes,
And that I am a giant
just as they
douchebag.
begin, Aragus will give Valimir a bardic inspiration. So you have a bonus D8 to a potential ability save or
To whom?
to Valimir
Valmir.
Excellent.
For
And then
10
I'll-
minutes.
for 10 minutes.
I don't remember that often. I always think it's the next round.
Let me make sure.
So Valimir is studying the chalkboards and is like walking through them and sort of figuring out the whole so that he can do that very quickly
Okay.
after.
You're practicing your math.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm just going over the formulas in my head and creating a little, I wish I knew what they were called. The little points, and then you draw the line and other points, and it's a mathematical thing and certain equations. And I wish I knew what it was called.
Yeah, little reference notes.
No, it's like you have the center point, and then you have like many other points, and there's certain I don't know. It's I've seen it in Good Will Hunting. I don't.
We're going to take a break and watch Goodwill Hunting real fast. All right.
Yeah,
Fast
so-
forwarding to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything else.
She chats socially with Fiona and Aragus, getting to know you folks a little bit. You find out she was originally from Navarre, and you, after 10 minutes, you are able to cast your spell, Detect Evil and Good. You know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet and where the creature is located, and know if there's a place or object within 30 feet that has been magically consecrated or desecrated. Nothing's been magically consecrated or desecrated, and there is no aberration, celestial, there is no aberration, celestial, fey, or fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you.
Okay.
There is an elemental.
An elemental.
Yes. Above 12 feet.
Are we good, Caven?
Kevin looks up.
You see the ceiling of the library. Oh, so sorry, 22 feet.
22 feet. He still looks up.
Okay, you see the ceiling of the library.
He looks at his host and says, "I detect someone, something is in this room with us."
She says, "There's no one in this room."
Caven takes his hand axe
Okay.
and throws it up to the
How
the
high is
ceiling.
the ceiling in this room?
Only,
About 18 feet.
So it's above.
oh,
the
it's
ceiling.
above. Oh, didn't have that info.
Yeah.
You
Very tall. I thought you would know that. 22, 18 feet, that's nothing to Arrogance. It's all the same. Might as well be 1,000 feet.
It's the sky.
What is that
It's
bright thing?
It's the forever ground.
needs to be a halfling, like God place, the forever ground. It's good. Just the, I'm going to the great upstairs.
It's like this ground, but it goes on forever.
All right, so let's back up.
Axe in hand, throwing it. Continue. Target.
We're backing up further than that. Now that I know that the ceiling is lower than what I detected, there is something just outside this building, on the roof. Do you have a guard up there?
No, we may have one of our younger apprentices. What are you sensing?
An elemental.
Oh, yes.
That's Roger.
That is Roger. He is our
Like Ferrero Rocher.
he is a fire elemental that we have here. A creation and somewhat of a guest, and honestly somewhat of an experiment. I don't know if you've noticed on your way into the city, there are elementals that can bring craft to and fro the city. Those were one of our original creations.
As she's speaking, Valimir just starts writing.
Okay. To create some goodwill. So we are a little bit known for our elemental work. So Valimir, you're now writing stuff.
Correct.
Reginald returns and says, "Oh, wait, what are you doing?"
Just may I see my father's works, please?
All right, he hands you the big book, and it is not a copy. This is literally, you have seen this book on your father's desk, and you're pretty sure he got it from him after that battle where your father was taken.
I give Reginald, let's just call it a look.
Well, give me the look. He smiles a little bit.
And there's a little growl, just like a.
Takes your hand and let's go.
Like a little
Don't-
bear kind of growl.
Do not forget the little tussle we had
I don't.
with Reginald. He might look like an idiot, but he almost kicked our asses.
He has since learned the same spell.
Yeah. I'll explain as necessary, Reginald, but for the time, just if you do not mind, allow me to do my work.
All right, you are there. You start doing this stuff. Make a performance roll, difficulty 10.
Good luck.
And I've already used up all of my hero points.
Come on, it's only
Oh,
it's only
and
a 10.
The Bardic Inspiration I can choose to use after, correct?
Yep.
That's
Okay.
a D8.
Very good. Look at that. Well, except my performance is -1. I rolled a 10, but -1 is going to be a 9.
this is guaranteed.
I'm using my Bardic
Guaranteed.
Inspiration right now, and that's a 2, so I rolled a whopping 11. Thank you for that inspiration.
All right.
Just in time.
So not only are this is nothing to do with accuracy. This is flashiness of huge, sweeping, awesome lines.
And really the marks of like hitting the chalk on the
Yup.
chalkboard is part of that.
There's huge overdent stuff to show your work, to explain to them. Then there's huge complex sections you do with like just 4 quick slashes. She is taken aback a little bit. Reginald is like, no, I don't believe that goes. Wait, what? And he's looking, how? Oh, but that doesn't work. You point at his own thing repeatedly 5 sections before that he keeps missing over and over again. He's there. She's impressed. Reginald's just in awe.
And then the final thing is going to be basically the nodes of Ganderlock, Castle Lethano, and Temple of Uver Marion the three main nodes that we have to work through simultaneously, and then a big circle for Kanebren itself.
Reginald says, "You know what this means. I was right. I was right. We did it." He holds out a hand, some might call it a mage hand, up in the air for a crisp high five.
Do it.
Mage hand.
He reluctantly. All right.
He's like a real teacher. He's not even looking. It just appears.
Behind
He's
his
still
back.
writing. Yeah.
Argus has another thought. They didn't even his ass.
The teacher's pet.
Yeah. And if you take this section and then combine it here, and then there's also everything right here, once you've had the time to really disseminate and dissect this, I believe you will come to the same conclusion that I have, that indeed, unfortunately, the path you have been on is not the most effective path that we could be taking at the moment. We must close down the three nodes at the same time so that we can then fix what is ailing Kanebren.
Ms. Daynor shakes her head and says, "This is illuminating and frustrating and hard to accept. Make a persuasion roll." Actually,
Can I make
an
Arcana roll?
nope. I was going to give this to you later. I'm going to give it to you now. You do not have to spend it now. I want to give you a hero point for all your stuff you've been doing this whole
Oh,
scene.
thank you.
So gain a hero point. You do have one.
All right. Let's do it. Persuasion, right?
Yes.
10.
Okay.
That's a committal 10. You don't get a
No.
So
10
plus
plus in there?
She says this. I see what you've written. I will need some more time to take a look at this.
Naturally.
And that looks like something like 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours. Even if what you have here, it does not look good, but I am hesitant to take my people off of the work we have started. I'm worried that you bring wonderfully bad news.
Indeed, Miss Daynor, I do.
Have you heard our episodes?
That is our specialty. Perhaps you can meet with your leading members of the Cabal and examine this work as necessary and confer amongst yourselves until you have drawn the conclusion. Whatever conclusion you should happen to come to. And then we can discuss further. You should take some time to mull this over, perhaps.
I think it is absolutely worth my time. It will take a better part of 2 weeks to bring folks in and communicate. It is intense, diligent work we have to do out there to maintain. And even if you are correct, I am hesitant to take more than 1 or 2 people off that duty anyways.
If I am correct, then the duty you have them upon is not serving the wish you have for it.
And if we are both correct, then us starting this endeavor with the Cabal would create a collapse before alignment could even help.
Can I show some work that would show how wrong she is?
Make an Arcana roll.
There we go. 26.
Wow. You believe she is right.
Well,
So if you see, wait, hang on, let me erase that part. So if I do it this way, oh shoot, no, hang on, let me
She
erase it.
comes over and points at your own equation right in the corner right there.
oh, indeed.
She takes the
And I-
chalkboard and flips it upside.
Oh, it was Mona Lisa.
and I erase the one and put the 2 there. Yes, indeed, it makes sense now. Thank you for that. Very astute.
I was hoping someone would catch that,
Yes,
making sure you're paying
Reginald's
attention.
looking at the book like, I had that all along.
You have shown yourself worthy.
You passed the test.
I don't disagree with you, surprisingly.
Surprising.
It is essential that there remain those here to maintain what you are doing, but it is also absolutely critical that we seal the rest of the cascading arcs. And in the intervening 2 weeks, as you say, we will be traveling and already be in Ganderlock, because we have business there which must be attended to. And there is a node there indeed that we must address as well. So as we have business there and we have the ability to seal that as necessary, that is where we are headed to. I believe that we should agree upon a time in a moment where we will seal what must be sealed in Ganderlock and expect the same within the confines of Castle Athano and Temple of Uvermaran, which I must put upon the Cabal's ability to do.
What if we used, I mentioned this a little bit ago, but what if we used teleportation to do this?
And Fiona asks
there's-
a very valid question. There are teleporters within the city of Kanebren. Do you have the interest and influence to allow us to use those?
She looks over at Reginald, and you look over at Reginald, and he is beaming with excitement.
Like, hello, Reginald. Take me by the hand.
Oh, are you still here?
And give me what I want.
She says,
He's a mage pimp.
she says, there is teleportation capabilities, limited yet powerful, expensive in resources, but well worth it, and at your disposal. Reginald has been maintaining them. We do not use them often, but we have a place that is extremely close to our facility here, literally just less than a 30-second walk, that could accommodate that. But it is one way.
Indeed.
Could you teleport the teleportation device to us? And we don't have to go anywhere?
So there's not a way to use it to jump to all
How do you
three
think this
places?
whole thing started?
No, it can go to many different places for
It
certain.
just cannot bring us back the same method, it seems.
So we would still have to rely on other members of the Cabal to do at least one, if not the other two.
I believe that we must. There would be no more difference of us relying, I believe, on the Cabal for one than two. If they're going to be successful with one, they will most certainly be successful with both.
I would suggest something.
Yes, of course.
I would suggest you continue your research. You stay here. You let your associates continue on. If necessary, travel after them, or if there's an emergency and the need arises, teleport to them since you know where they are headed. You stay here, you do your research, you expand upon it, you double check it. I am still hesitant. I still think we need to consider all of our efforts here. I feel if you are correct, and yes, I'm strongly leaning towards you are correct, that if we take away too many hands now upon what has been done here near Kanebren, we might lose a great deal of capability and magic here in the city permanently. I don't think it would create chaos and damage, but I think it would nullify a great deal of magic, and that would be disastrous for many, as we need the capabilities of magic around this city. So I think you staying here, helping with our maintenance while you do your research would be good. I also have another idea. I do not like it either.
Go on.
I think there is something unusual going on with you and your 4 associates here.
Indeed.
And it was detected, and we still have not removed.
Indeed, and we, I believe, would greatly benefit by that being done. And I believe that has been placed upon us by a powerful wizard who wishes to know, especially my location. As you may imagine, because of the Grey Spell name, garnered enemies in such fields, and one has drawn their eye upon me. And I believe I did not know of what you spoke at first, but I have certainly pondered that, and that is the best conclusion that I can derive. But it makes sense in context of some other matters that we have attended to in late.
It sounds reasonable to me. It also seems that there is a ley line connection from that to me, as though it's come from that. And my understanding from Reginald is that you or your associates, obviously you with your family, but your associates have had connections with some of the ley line challenges that have been we've been dealing with for the last month or so.
Though my companions are not wizards, they are surprisingly adept at such things. And especially Fiona the Tinkerer has some very powerful magics that allow her to have certain wizard-like capabilities in this matter.
Then my preference, as I stated, is for you to stay. And not permanently until otherwise decided, but for the next few weeks. There is an alternative I do not like as much, and that is if what I'm saying is correct, and perhaps this seeking of you is coming through ley line magic, we do not remove it. And if you and your associates are able to align these cascading arcs, and she goes to your blackboard and takes a number, puts a line underneath it, and divides it by 2, she says the ease of closing those would increase dramatically. There seems to possibly be some connection between you or someone of your associates and these arcs, or these ley lines, or this wizard you're talking of, that something seems too coincidental.
I am not one of late to believe in coincidences. So I would tend to agree with your assessment. I must, of course, confer with my friends on these matters to determine how we should move forward.
Well, we have a room for you to rest and collect your thoughts. It is not much, but we do have one room available for you to gather your thoughts and speak.
Excellent. Thank you.
Very well. And we will take our break there, and we'll be right back after this. The group is in the Queen's Cabal building and are in a room upstairs. They have several quarters. There is a simple quarters that has not been assigned to anyone. There is a nice enough bed that is there, and one of the younger guys who was at the door that kept you from coming in, he brings in a cot and another cot and another cot, They're trying
You
to.
mean the door boy?
Yes, door boy. That's right. And you guys, over some time, have the room all to yourself.
I'm picturing it fairly cramped in this room.
It is.
It's not.
For you, yes. Argus is jumping on the bed.
We've got like some Groot action of you hulking in some small chair. And the group is all here except for Cole. Thanks for showing up, Jeremy.
Well, Valamir, what is your assessment of these people?
They do seem genuine in their intent and desire. I could pick apart no malintention from these folks. I do believe they are at least trying to do what they state. They are not quite as good at it as they should be, or I would like to see, but with my aid, they will get there, I'm sure.
With your aid?
Well, with what I've already provided them, as well as whatever other insights their little gathering manages to pull from my work.
Of course.
As painful as it is to watch them bumble about with my father's life's work, they are right in some things. It would make sense for me to remain behind and continue to aid and convince them of the need to do this. But I am not keen to part from our current company.
Yes, well, of course, your father's...
Unlike Cole, who has apparently betrayed us.
Friendship means something more to some than others, apparently.
I miss Cole.
The bonds of blood apparently don't mean as much to Goliath, but, you know.
Well, Valamir, of course, your intellect here is of no doubt. Of course, in your father's case, it wasn't his intellect that got the better of him. It was his arrogance and ego.
Fortunately, I do not suffer from either arrogance or ego.
Of course. A man as humble and correct as you.
That look from Seth. Most disgusted.
I'm sorry. This might be a record. Gain another hero point, Chris.
There is no title for this episode. It's just a thumbnail of Seth's face.
Somebody's pants are on fire.
Have you ever watched your show? I've never seen anyone spend all 3 spell slots on mirror image.
Outside of combat.
There's only one thing better
You
than a
agree with
single
me, don't you?
Valamir.
Yes, we do.
The word humble, it does not mean what you think it means. I think, of course, your father's downfall was that he was seemingly unwilling to even share the simplest bit of this information with anyone. You've already proven yourself a better man than he ever was. I think keeping some of this close to the vest is important, but being honest is more important. And you've done that, and from what I can tell, they seem to be as honest as they're getting on.
Indeed, I believe they still have reservations and concerns, and their understanding is not quite as complete as what mine is, but I am hoping that they can eventually get to that point where they will be an aid, not a hindrance. And I believe that they can get there. It is just a matter of whether I remain with them for some time while I believe we continue to Ganderlock, and I can meet you there through teleportation. Or I can travel with you, as I mentioned, am not keen to part from our company. I believe we make quite a
Team.
Yes, a team.
There is
Quite
a
a
knock
good
upon
team.
the door, and the door boy is there.
Yes.
Always exasperation in his greetings.
He says, sorry to bother you.
Yes.
Hi. Is one of you called Caven by name?
Yes.
That would be me.
There's I figured as much. There's a very loud and large Goliath wandering the Azure streets, calling out your name. He's gathered the attention of several city guards.
Cool. And Caven plows over door boy
All right. You are out the door, out to the main hall, out
Azure
the door.
Street.
And out in the street, you see there is Cole. He is being politely told to be kept quiet by 2 city guard who he still towers over him.
Cool.
Pebble! Waterfall! Cabin!
Cool.
Pebble! Waterfall! Cabin! Oh! You found me.
Cole.
David!
I'm glad that you are here.
I am too.
Is this going to stop now?
He doesn't want me to keep going. I found him. He was looking for me. I found him. He's right here.
What were you calling?
So I needed to get a hold of you, but I didn't know if you were going to listen for you or for your horse, so I called every name I knew. So Caven and Pebble and Boulderfall, and I did it repeatedly until you kept found me.
Can
so
you
it
keep
worked
this
out
one
for me.
quiet?
It will be no further disturbance tonight.
But this guy, I'll tell you what, if he starts going, we're all stuck.
Off you go.
Off you go. Hey, can I tell you something? And you start leading the way and I'll start following. I want to let you know that if you ever get stuck on the other side of the river and have to follow another barge to catch up with everybody, hypothetically, and you end up talking to someone about what they want to do with their life, don't ever ask. I know more about pants and textiles than I've ever expected to in my entire life. Oh, also, every other person you ever talk to wants to do what you do. The amount of people here that want to be adventurers is obnoxious. They don't even carry weapons. They just all think that they have this really great idea. It's mostly about potatoes. How are you?
It's mostly about apps.
Well, I'm well.
That's great. How about when this other time? Did you see the elemental that's out here?
Cool.
There's like a big water one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you stay out of trouble?
I mean, I have the horse. Everyone still wanted the foal, right? Plush, I got it right here. I've been carrying it over my shoulder. She's healthy. I'm healthy.
You did not bring the horse. The horse has been stabled.
I got her. She's right here. I really don't let her out of my sight.
She's my heart.
We
They thought they stabled her. She's in my pack.
We've been
got
offered a
most of her
place
in my
to
pack.
stay. We have accommodations for the night.
Fantastic. They have food?
I'm sure that
Let's
we
find
can
out. Come on.
find some. It's a little cramped.
Well, everything's a little cramped. Look at this place. There's about 1,000 people in here.
And Cole walks you, Caven, back to the Cabal door. This way? Yeah. And you are inside. Cole, you are brought inside. You go into the hall.
Really tall doors, right? When we first walked
Yep.
in, really tall hallways,
Yep.
and then like keeps getting smaller as they start cramming me into this room. Is that what I'm getting?
Sure.
Okay.
And you are brought into a door where it's a smaller room, and the rest of your friends are assembled with cots that pretty much line the floor.
Hey, where's my room?
Well, this is it.
We have this entire building and we get one place.
No, we are guests here.
Well, I think we have another. Don't we? Didn't the church offer us some accommodations as well?
There we go.
They may have.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Suddenly, he becomes a little
But they
hesitant.
offered me accommodations.
It depends on if we're using the royal us.
Benefits of being twins, y'all. Peace.
We could just get an inn as well. I mean, I don't care. I could sleep anywhere. I just sleep on vessel, but there's a tiny room for
It will
three
be
of you.
It will be okay for tonight.
I don't like that you're talking for me right
Well,
now in front of everybody. We're talking
cool.
about this. We're comfortable.
Cool, you've been gone forever. You come back with a bad attitude.
I'm allowed to have my own voice, Fiona.
You are.
I have my truth.
I'm a free spirit. Let me sing.
I have my truth.
My God.
He's been.
Valerie, you look like you've
I'm
been
a
fucked by
Goliath in
pixie.
the short man's world. What's that?
No, I was about
How
to
do
say
you
something.
know about Lizzie?
See, it's in his eyes.
I got some sparkles in my eyes. Nothing like a little pixie dust, you know?
Hey, I have 3 questions real quick if everyone could help me out. Where are we? Why are we here? And where's food?
We are in the
Sorry, priorities. Where's food? Why are we here? Where are we?
door boy. Can we have some food? Thank you.
Oh, yes.
He gets up off the ground, dusts
And Tom,
himself
that's all
off.
we need you for right now.
You are excused.
You're the
We are-
DP. No.
We're in the hall of the Queen's Cabal, and we are here in order to work out how we can close the rift of magic outside of Kanebren and deal with certain cascading arts in multiple locations.
That's
As
a
they-
lot of words.
It is. We're going to stop some really bad magic shit from happening.
That's what I want to hear.
There you go.
Okay. The Queen's Cabal you said wasn't real.
Cole, sometimes when a bard says something, it's not entirely what you might say thought out.
It was allegorical. Really.
You telling me I can't trust you anymore?
Your life is like a barge. A lot of parties, but quite dangerous if you're too heavy on the bottom.
No, I get it. Yeah.
As long as Cole follows.
That's like the most they have ever connected right there. Wow. You know me.
Cole, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, in all of this information going back and forth, something was left out of our dealings with the Queen's Cabal. That was the message from the Starseer that you told me about. I've completely forgotten what it was the damn person said, what
Yeah.
you told me, but you were shaking quite a bit that evening, and
You're talking about when I was way down in the magic place.
yes.
Yeah, I was down in Azimir, I'm pretty sure, and this guy, 12, he didn't give me his real name, but I'm pretty sure he's 12, told me that if we are in deep, dire trouble, and we need to get away from the dangers that are seeking us or hunting us down, I believe he said, we need to seek help from the Starseer. That she would have the information that we would need when we're ready to take action. Is that it? That what you wanted?
I imagine so. We've already had a crossing with such a person, but we were hoping to go back again.
Well, the person was not there.
Yes, as I said.
So-
There is a star.
Arrogance is just chalking all the points up.
You're
The
reading
Chronicle-
Bards right now.
The chronicles by this bard are pure fiction.
He does not know documentary. Thank you.
It's more of a biopic situation.
By the way,
Based on true events.
Yeah.
Cole to me has become that really, really annoying redneck cousin that you hate and don't invite to anything, except when you're really down and then he kicks ass.
You mean he's Randy?
He's Randy.
At least I'm living up to my expectations. No, there is one thing I wanted to bring up for all of you in here, because I don't know how well you were seeing things. There's elementals everywhere. Do you see this?
Yeah.
The water is like its own water. It does its own thing. There's fire
Yes.
on different places. Elementals everywhere.
Yeah, we've been here.
Look up.
Yeah, it's a roof. It's small. I know.
On the
I'm
other-
trying to hunch.
There's one kind of like on another level.
So you know what I'm talking about then. What's with that? Why are there elementals all around this place? They are creatures of nature. What are they doing in the city?
Honestly, it seems to be a bit of indentured servitude, if you ask, if you ask me.
Oh, it is definitely indentured servitude.
The Queen's Cabal themselves are the elementals.
They created
No, they
them.
created them.
The Queen's Cabal.
As I
creates
said,
as I said.
Makes the
he
story
embellishes it to make it richer.
I'm gonna have to fact check you every time.
I'm going to have to start fact checking you too. Jeez.
How many people are in this room right now, Cole?
Someone help me. Someone hold my hand. Reality is slipping through my grasp.
Cole and Argus are on the same.
That's true. Cole getting here by himself. He either spent 4 silver or he spent like 465 gold.
Yeah.
We have dyslexia and Alzheimer's in one room. He's sundowning right now. Please don't mind our Bard.
It's
But
the
it's
end of the
funny.
day.
I'm losing inspiration.
His little mind is tired.
Speaking of tired, is there food?
Food is given to the group. This is lighter, more delicate food to help deal with a wizard's sensibilities and not upset them physically, and in small portions on fancy plates.
Finally, a proper meal.
with fancy utensils, fancy napkins.
Lots of fancy.
And Cheerios on China.
Is this all fancy on our floor cots?
Yes.
Where we're eating this fancy food? Okay.
Fancy paper plates that we have.
All right. So, you all seem like you're in the middle of something that was not me talking.
We've got a lot to catch you up on.
I'll just watch the recap.
Okay.
All right, you catch Cole up on what happened while he was gone, and Cole, what do you say after all that is revealed to you?
This seems to be more obvious than not. From what I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the math guy. If we all work together because we're connected, then we can do the ley line thing by itself, right? We just have to then find a way to get back to each other when it's done. So we set a time of day. We split up. We use Reginald's whoosh teleport thing. All get there. Calibrate the rods, probably 2 each. Seems right. And then we're done. And then we all end up back in Grumble Shanks, wherever you're from, and then we'll watch a party.
Cole,
Shakes.
I like that.
Cole, you did the math correctly.
Did you just have a stroke?
I blocked out. What happened?
In theory, that is sound. I'm taken aback by that, but
I think he says mage hand right here.
Agent, yes.
I guess that was your butt. What happened?
I'm adding a campaign note
I'm athletic.
to the area known as Ganderlock, that they hate the nickname of
We should.
Crumble
Freaking
Shanks.
Grumble
do.
Shanks. Grumble Shanks is a derogatory term used against the city now.
You don't get to say that word, only we get to say that word.
You're a grumble shanker, aren't you?
Goliath word.
That is now canon.
I know, a grumble
If
shanker.
you want to piss off Iona, goddamn Grumble Shank.
Yeah. that will get Fiona to curse like a sailor.
Someone's a little Grumble Shanks today.
Vessel's cannon.
Yeah, Vessel's like, why are you Is that the command word? Yes, yes, it is.
Good old Grumble Shakes.
I'm so sorry, Cole. It's not me.
That might be episode title.
Yeah.
Guess who's in charge of the episode titles? Jerk off.
All the more reason to put it in there.
It's getting real, folks. It's getting real.
Don't you just put in the majority vote?
Nope. Not this time.
You're gonna get 6 text messages tonight. Grumble Shanks.
Plus one.
5 second Grumble Shanks. Plus 1 Grumble
Plus
Shanks.
one.
Episode title, not Grumble Shakes.
Anything but Grumble Shakes.
Capital not.
It's fucking Ganderlock.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
So, Cole, you think we should split up 2 by 2 by 2 and all take care of one of these cascading arcs?
I don't know how it works. We'd have to probably figure that part out. But, like, I assume we need one of those rod things that you've been hiding.
Point
And
of
if we each had
order.
one.
Nobody's hiding it.
Does it take a wizard to do it?
No, but it helps to be able to cast spells.
Okay. But it sounds like then we could, I mean, since most of our group can cast some sort of spells, that would be qualifying.
Exactly half of
It
our
would
group.
be pair pair.
2/3, really.
Yeah,
It'd be you two, them two, and us two, or
Yeah.
whatever.
that
Or-
would make the most sense. Yeah,
Everyone but me.
That's true.
yeah.
That's about right. That's
Bad
about
at
As I
math.
said, all of you go, and I'll stay here and teach them.
Yeah, so obviously Fiona and Vessel are inseparable. That happened once and it got really weird.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that anymore. I'd rather not split up from Caven kind of ever. Does not work out well. Have to keep talking to people about pants. And the two of you got history. So if it were up to me, it is not. But if it were, that's your pairs. We go, you go, you go. We all set the time of day. We watch the sun. We put the thing back into the ground, however the hell it works. And we're set.
Put that thing back where it came from.
Or so help me.
Or so help me. That's a good one. I'll write that down.
That is indeed sound.
Each arc is close to the same distance away from where we're at.
Yes, and
2 weeks from today, just to give everybody some time.
Now, hold on just a moment. Are we sure we're up for this task separately?
that is a
Remember
good
what
question.
happened when we dealt with just a rift?
Indeed, we do not know exactly what we may encounter when we get there.
We could each take a contingent from the Cabal.
Or we could send the Cabal to complete the other two. And we stay together.
But you just told me that Fancy Pants in there doesn't want to send anyone away.
They are yet undecided. I believe they can be swayed. Although it may deplete there may be some question about whether they have enough personnel to maintain what they are doing here with the Rift in Kanebren, as well as taking care of the cascading arcs, as it were.
What about what Aragus said? What if they just lose 3 for a couple of weeks? Just 3 people.
Indeed.
1 with each of us. There'll be 3 of us going. So the wizards can do what they do. We can keep them alive.
That is a sound idea. I have no fault in that, if that is how everybody feels we should proceed.
It is not that I doubt any of us. I simply think we should have more of an idea of what these things do before we go off and handle them separately.
We have 2 weeks to determine this.
And we have
No, we
means of
Can
teleportation.
do it whenever. I just said 2 weeks because that seems like a likely time period for us all to. We're not going to be able. Once we split up, we're not going to be able to talk.
Communicate.
Really, I mean, Aragus can talk to any of us, but we can't talk back.
And not at distance,
Oh.
I'm afraid.
Haven't picked that one up yet.
Well, I mean, again, my thought, depending on where we go, let's say we pick sundown to do the thing because it's got to be all done at the same time. We teleport each of our groups to the place we need to be in the morning, get ourselves ready at sundown. We all line up, then we come back.
And it's possible to teleport from where we are. There is a teleport node here
To each of the
to each of the locations.
nearby to each of the areas.
That
is
was
that
not
correct?
established.
That was yeah.
That's what your rascal pants said.
Yeah.
Reginald face. Right? He
She
runs the
she
teleport.
said, or they said, we could use the teleportation, but we don't know exactly. I would assume Ganderlock has one, but the Port Heath,
Port Heath.
Yeah.
and-
Castle Lithano, who knows?
So Aragus's
have to
idea,
inquire.
it's easier for me to just say. Aragus's idea is that we all teleport to Ganderlock. He thinks in Ganderlock is a magical gnome city with a known gnome family. He would imagine the Tumblepots are somewhat infamous, if not infamous, in that city. Legacy character notwithstanding. If they are as technologically savvy and magically savvy as the city would garner, then they would likely have some type of official or unofficial teleportation device. Aragus thinks we should all go there quickly, have Fiona set up her shop, and kind of work on her mechanical competition thing as a alibi almost, like keep us in that city while we inspect the first arc, and then from there, if we can't teleport, then it is a 2-week ride, say, to each of the places, because
Where
Every
is
4 weeks.
Yeah,
from
because we're
Ganderlock
further
if we
away,
can't
so
teleport.
and I think we need to accomplish that a little
Somewhere.
bit quicker.
2 to 3 weeks.
And I believe it takes a fair number of what ifs for that plan to be successful. And if those what ifs work out, it could be a very good plan. I'm afraid of those pieces, though.
certainly not without its risks, but
They all
perhaps a plan C, if nothing
yeah,
else.
the alternative would be for us to each teleport to the closest place of origin of each of these 3 nodes. Discuss the timing that it will take to reach them, secure them, make them safe for our work to be done, and then do our work, and then meet in an appointed location thereafter. Perhaps even Ganderlock or some other location as necessary, returning to Kanebren, whatever we shall decide is best and most convenient. We could split into 3s, 3 and 3, and rely on the Cabal for the other, though it would make sense for each of us to be at each one of those locations, as I do not wholly trust anybody outside of this room. Get out, door boy.
She didn't test me for anything, but are we going to just assume that I'm also probably somehow connected?
I
to the
believe
other
it
5
would
of
be
you?
good to confirm that as well, but I would presume so. But I would like for Ms. Daynor to also confirm that with you, because it would be interesting to find out if you were not. It would perhaps lead us in another direction. But I do believe, and I did not say that to them, but implied it, and you probably know which wizard I spoke of. This is, I believe, the work of Zexa.
If your assumption is right, and it was the messenger of pain that cast this upon us, Cole wouldn't have been affected. He wasn't there.
Indeed. And that would then further that evidence and lead us perhaps to, again, it is an assumption that I have. I'm not.
It's a good assumption.
Yes, but it could be wrong. There are others at play which may wish the same.
Oh, did you just admit that you could be wrong?
Lose a hero point.
You're growing.
Ego has its price.
I like
Did
it.
I?
Yes, you did.
I do not recall that. In fact, I don't believe I could be wrong, but
Listeners, go back to the tapes and listen. Go to Discord and tell us if he did. or not.
indeed, Fiona, in this I am willing to admit a lack of enough knowledge to ascertain for certain. But it is a reasonable conclusion, and furthered potentially by the fact if Cole is not so affected, but would not rule out the possibility even if he shall be. It would perhaps just give us hints of another direction.
So, just seems like it's worth pointing out that Aragus mentioned earlier that I had to teleport back and forth in and out of Azamir. If you recall, when I left there, I ended up going all the way to the deserts, way out into the Ironlands, and I had that device, that like personal teleport that I somehow used, that killed me when I met up with you at Lady Veridor's, that we destroyed. I was told when he handed that to me that that would cause us to be seen, because we're already being watched. That's why I mentioned the seer, the star seer. I'm not saying it's Zexa. I'm not saying it's not Zexa. I'm just letting you know I may have done this to everybody, and I'm very sorry. But that might be where that connection comes from as well.
Worth,
Also, are you going to finish that?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you. Um, all good considerations. So, what is our thoughts then? We shall split into twos, attempt to gain a member of the Cabal for each of us, each group, just in case.
Your new friend isn't gonna like you leaving, but I think that's the best scenario.
Okay.
And if we each take a member of the Cabal with each party, if that's
Yes.
possible.
If I do, I cannot obviously speak for what the Cabal will do, but I suspect we could probably convince them of that. They seemed willing to dedicate some limited manpower, and it would probably be a compromise that they would be willing to make to give us, 3 versus any more. That would be perhaps enough for us.
Vessel, I've often thought of you as our conscience of this group. What would you say?
Velamir speaks of a moment where even the followers of Solene would not be able to speak or commune with our goddess. If it is to be that we need to repair these devices to allow for that to happen, then that is where I am swayed. And to do that most effectively, I believe we should travel together.
How do you believe we close? We must close all 3 simultaneously.
Or within a few hours.
How would you?
You had mentioned the Cabal splitting 2 groups off to deal with the others as needed.
And then we are relying on others to complete tasks that are absolutely essential to complete.
As we must often do in our lives.
I have not often had to do that.
There he is.
Fiona, get a 0 point, please.
Yeah.
Vessel has spoken.
For the first time this session.
No. I was eager to get that out.
Perhaps that will be the final determination can be made after we speak with the powers of the Cabal to see what we are able to garner from them. Because if we cannot gather enough forces of theirs to aid us, then we must complete these tasks ourselves.
I am also keenly aware that the sun sets while we speak.
I didn't mean today.
And the dove sings at noon, but
The cock crows in the
You
morning.
had mentioned that there is timeliness to this.
indeed,
The longer we take to make this decision, the less time we will have.
indeed. And the more difficult the challenge of securing what we need. Speed is of the essence.
I didn't ask you to make that roll. How did you know that?
I am familiar enough with this world that I can
Alright.
presume that at this stage, and I believe
Natural 20! Okay.
that we must. So, where is Port Heath and the temple?
Port Heath is the very bottom circle there in Calavier by that ship.
Follow the water.
Okay,
You got your laser?
So yeah, so
Yeah,
all
so-
3 points on the
that's
rivers,
Point
Heath.
Heath.
all of the river
The other one?
edges.
Oh.
And then
Okay.
somewhere in here.
Gotcha.
A nice triangle.
Yeah.
Like a flux capacitor of ley lines.
Yep. Yep. I see that.
Yes.
Yeah. Truly. I am hesitant to believe that the Cabal will be able to provide enough manpower for us not to have to deal with all 3. but-
Hold on a second, Tom. It is 14 days from Kanebren to Ganderlock by boat because of the river, correct?
Upriver.
Yeah.
So that would mean going south would take half that time.
Sure.
So getting from Ganderlock to Port Heath could take a week by boat.
Ganderlock to sure.
Okay. That is important.
Aha!
Not 3 hours.
In your face!
So that shaves off.
So you're thinking we all go to Ganderlock, take a look at what we're dealing with, and then from there we
I think
split
if
up?
there's another place in this country that's going to have teleportation devices, it's Ganderlock. So between Ganderlock, Kanebren, and Almithra, those are 3 points, very close to 2 of the points we need to get to.
Reginald has a map, right?
He has kind of a map. He has the ley line rifts pointed out.
No, I mean of all the teleportation places. If he actually has to go to another teleportation spot, I don't know how magic works, but I assume you know where you're going. Does he have a list? Is there
Indeed,
a
we
map?
would be able to know
Yeah, is there like
Zap us
a
anyway.
does the Cabal have a
where they
database?
can take us. Indeed, and that. But I believe what manpower can be dedicated to us will also determine, potentially determine our path. I am definitely of those two minds between not splitting up, but the need for haste would seem to outweigh that in some ways in my mind.
Gaben, what do you think?
I think Valamir is not fully trusting of the Queen's Cabal, which I am of the same mind. We are given 2 options. Trust them fully that they could complete the task, or divide up and make sure that each one of us goes to complete the task with their aid. I do not have enough trust with the Queen's Cabal either. My preference would be for us to split up, and we each go to one of these cascading arcs.
Fiona, what do you think?
I think because it's unknown, we all go to Ganderlock together. Take a look at what we're dealing with, because none of us know what that is. Maybe it's not even possible for anyone besides Valamir to fix it. Like, a lot of us have we can do magical things, but not like Valamir. So we all take a look at it and then figure out what we need to do and if we can do it, and then from there, and this isn't my idea, this is Aragus's idea, then we do split up into 3 parties, and the 2 other parties teleport if that's available. I'm not promising anything. Or just take boats to both of the other places, which can be done within a week. And then we're within the 2-week period. I mean, I don't know, that 2-week period was something I said, but I think that's a good idea. Knowing what we're going to get into rather than just splitting up now, and maybe 2 of the groups figure it out. Maybe none of the groups figure it out on their own. But altogether, we will for sure at least be able to figure it out.
Yeah, that's brainy.
And you guys can all see my home, our home. That's a nice home. It's awesome.
That's
You can
also
meet,
brainy.
you can meet Pop and Peepa and Mima. Be great.
Sounds thrilling.
You are an ass.
Being serious,
Uh-huh.
I have been very
I
interested
know you're serious.
to meet your
voice.
family.
I do not suggest we split up immediately. We would need time to understand what we need to do and how to do it. Fiona, I think your idea is...
Aragus's
It was
idea.
Aragus's idea.
Sweet.
That's
Super
what
clear.
I said.
I don't even have an idea anymore.
The idea.
But I was asked what I thought we should do, and I agree with Ericus.
The idea to go to Ganderlock, I believe, is the best one.
Should we try to take Cabal guys with us in case we need to split it from there?
Is there a means of communicating with them?
You could always send a messenger pigeon.
I mean, once we look
They
at it,
may have some means to speak with each other. There are indeed magical devices that would be able to do so. I cannot at this time take the time or energy or effort to make such things, but they may have them available. It seems like the majority would choose to remain together and travel to Ganderlock. And then at that point, examine the cascading arcs, confirm we can close them as appropriate, and then figure our path from there, most likely splitting up into groups and completing our tasks. Is that what our thought currently is? And is there any other ideas as to how to proceed? So it is decided.
Sounds good.
All right.
we will have to get the tuning rods for each group,
Indeed. We must.
and then ask your friend what. I mean, she might have some opinions. She's definitely going to have some opinions on this. so-
Indeed. And she may even have sound ideas. The only other consideration would be for me to remain behind to aid them initially, and then meet you in Ganderlock through the teleportation device when you are expected to be arriving there. Though I do not fancy being without you as you travel.
Okay. It is the next day then.
Yeah.
It is morning time. You have been fed a very light breakfast.
Lovely.
Oh, does my light breakfast come with a level 5 character sheet?
It does right here. Forgot all about that. It's the menu. And you guys are in the library here again at the Queen's Cabal in the morning, and a second and a third alignment rod are placed down. They are dusty, and Reginald says, we have one more than this if you need it, but I'd rather keep it just in case.
3 will be sufficient for our needs.
All right.
Are these items you have to attune to?
Nope.
Okay.
Rothelyn Daynor is there, and she says, I have spoke to a few of our people. I made a trek out last night to the fissure. I do not, and now that I've heard your plan, I do not think it is a good one still. I think you should remain here, let your friends do as they see fit. There are some challenges, there's some hesitation from some of the other Kabbalists about you joining, but I still think that would be beneficial to you and to the city. And
Can you
that is
explain?
what I'm saying.
Can you explain your hesitations?
I feel, as do many of us, that our work in maintaining the fissure here is absolutely essential, or it will negate or nullify all magic around Kanebren for who knows how long, if not forever. I do not believe Valimir and his father's equations are wrong. I think that it would be foolish for us to stop our maintenance and magic on the fissure. You would be killing the patient to save the patient. However, we are not opposed to what you're doing. And again, I am not a de facto leader. I consider myself more as a facilitator of the Cabal, so I'm only sharing some opinions. I also do not wish to name names in the event that you decide to join, and I don't want any ill will generated between you and anyone who might be hesitant to you joining. I'm sure they will see the light if that is the case. Also, if you choose, it is expensive, but we can provide the gems necessary. Reginald knows some of the old ways to use the teleportation circle that is on the roof next door, actually.
And of that teleportation circle, what are the closest we can get to Port Heath to Temple Yam 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 Yam? And
Castle
Meow,
of
meow.
Thano.
Castle
Yum,
of
yum, yum,
Meow
Thano.
means
Is that near
Temple
Grumblesnake?
of Uvramian.
Just need to get close to the city.
Yum, 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 yum. And Ganderlock.
she looks over at him and he says, we could just go take a look at the teleportation circle, and I just need to do a little bit of casting through it to tell you. I don't know, but I can sense.
Indeed. Thank you. Let us know when you have that answer, Reginald.
All right. And off he goes.
Argus would like to go with him and study what he's doing.
All right, Aragus, you go with him. The two of you go out. You go upstairs. You go through a private room. Where,
hand. I've been waiting for that.
Harrigus puts his hand out, but Reginald,
yeah, slaps it away. I don't go halfway. And you go out a door to a balcony. That balcony has a small little walkway, only about 8 feet long, to the building next door, which happens to be the building of the Star Seer.
Okay.
On top of her roof, it is a high-angled roof, but there's a strange section of an outcropping of stone. Looks like it might be a pedestal or a platform to hold a giant statue at the corner of the building, but there has never been a statue there. Instead, there are two small trees that have leaves that are fallen, which is out of season. They should be nice and green, but they are nice and brown, and a bunch of their leaves have fallen onto this circular platform, and the circular platform is lots of symbols around a magic teleportation ring. You are now precariously walking out there. There's no railing around the teleportation circle. And Reginald said, would you mind kind of brushing some of that off, please? To the leaves.
Oh, of course, of course.
Down below, there are people that have no idea what you're doing. And
Being rained on by leaves.
yes. And then
That's not rain.
And then Reginald sits in the middle and starts casting a spell. Oh, I'm kind of sensing that one's kind of close. The rest of you are back in the library. Anything else you'd like to discuss?
Caven wants a moment with Vessel.
Okay, you pull him off to the side.
You wish to speak to me, Guardian?
His voice hasn't been used enough.
I know, yeah. Excuse me. There are leaves in my throat.
Told you not to stand outside.
Vessel, can we
looking
get
up
that
with your
again? A
mouth
clean take, please.
open. Vessel, when I saw Celine, when she brought me into her presence, she told me that the gods, are having a struggle as well in their realm.
Yes?
It's not just here in our plane, in our reality, but the battle is beginning to happen for them. And she made it sound as if they were all working together.
The gods work against a common foe. That is what you are saying?
Yes,
What is this foe?
she did not tell me.
There may come a time when the silent army is drawn up, called to service. These will be dangerous times.
I want to make sure that we that we can work together with others, no matter who they serve, no matter whose god they call their own. It sounds like this battle will need everyone.
I see the wisdom of what you say. I will continue to listen. You have my arm.
I appreciate all that you have done, and Celine does as well. I am very proud to call you brother in arms, and a brother in the service to Celine.
In her service.
You guys are passed by Reginald and Aragus. You walk very close next to me.
Well, I can share the space of a creature.
That was damn fast. That was great. Holy cow. You
But
guys.
do you have to stand
I
between my legs?
No.
It's like a cat, like walking between your
Just
legs.
halfling purring in your lap.
Touch my butt. Touch my butt.
Here it is. See what happens when you touch my stomach too.
Yeah, Arrogance just flops over for no reason.
Suddenly disappears, runs into the room.
I'm not ready to go back yet. I'd like to stay here for a couple hours.
Kicking sand into the room. Screw you, screw you, screw you. Love me.
Into the library comes the cat Aragus and
Did I pick up any of what he was doing, the ritual?
Reginald. Pick up.
It's not like my...
Make an
thing, but-
Arcana roll of 20.
Oh, jeez, okay. Oh, okay, well, I can maybe do that.
Come on, 20.
Yup. That's a 17 plus 7.
17?
24, I believe. Right?
Wow.
You have a
Plus
+7 to your
7?
Arcana?
That's not possible.
That's what it says. I have an E plus 7 Arcana.
Sure
so you're an
does.
expert.
Oh, you've got
He's
like
an
a
expert.
double expertise type thing. He's
Oh.
super, like at two things or
You're
something
as,
crazy.
you're as good at Arcana as I am. That's amazing.
I'm so surprised,
And a
big
little,
britches.
and a little insulting.
You have been able to mimic and remember some of his incantations, and you believe you have a chance, not guaranteed,
Yeah.
but a chance to determine when sitting on any teleportation in the world of Varen to sense when it has been used, when it was last used.
Okay.
Because he was doing that magic, and he's coming in with that. He comes in and says, all right, I've been able to locate a teleportation circle at Castle Lethano, just right there. I have, it has not been used, though, for over a decade.
Expect many leaves.
Yes. There is one at the city of Ganderloch to the northeast. It's about an hour away, I believe, was my sense of distance, and that has not been used for 10 months, 11 months. So not frequently used at all. And then the one south near Port Heath, that one is less than half a mile of this temple you mentioned, I think. And that has not been used for close to 100 years.
It is some time. And Reginald, what is the danger of teleporting to a place that has not been used in some time? Other than you don't know what you're teleporting to.
No, that's the only danger, and it's not a real constant threat.
No one put
And-
like a wall on top of the circle.
And with your knowledge of such things, is there a like device to what you have up on the roof there in Ganderloch, or is there likely to be?
A teleportation circle?
Yes, that we can teleport from.
The one I have is the only one that I could sense within any proximity of the city. It would be
Yeah, he said there's one in Ganderloch about an hour away.
But that's only one way. We can't then sit on that and teleport to other places, was my understanding.
He says, well, all those teleportation circles can go both ways.
You know, I think we all can.
With enough, enough.
He says, with enough resources and magic and know-how, and preferably someone who has studied that circle for quite some time and spent some time there.
How long would you need to study a circle before you were able to conduct those incantations? To let's say you were in Ganderlock, just for instance, is a crazy idea here, and you were given access to that
I see.
portal.
That would take me about a day or two. Make an insight roll.
He says.
It's going to take him longer. I'm going to use a hero point for that because I got a bunch of them. Because that would have been an 8, and instead I get a 17.
It will take him much, much longer. Probably 5 to 10 times as long.
So 5 to 10 days then. Okay. Well, it's very, very optimistic of you.
Why, thank you.
Why don't you
Not
show
a
us how you got that on the
compliment,
board here?
Suddenly, he gets flop sweat. I appreciate you observing my optimism. I'm glad that comes across.
It was not a compliment, but very well.
Gee, poor guy. Just enjoying
I
it too
just
much.
don't like him for some reason. There's something I do not like about Reginald, and it's not his fault. I think that is just he's an incompetent wizard. But
So, you're still there. Reginald's there. Danor's there. The whole team is there.
Fiona goes up to Raphalin. You remember how you cast that spell on each of us yesterday to find out what spells we had active and to gain our intentions?
Yes.
Could you cast that again, but on the one person you haven't cast it on yet?
Of course.
I'm curious to see if he's connected with the rest of us.
She casts a spell upon you. You feel a tingling sensation around your shoulders.
Oh, I don't like that. That gave it the clouds. Okay.
Hold still, cold.
just relax.
Let it happen.
It will be over soon.
And she says, "Oh, that is
Big boys don't cry.
well, that is interesting, isn't it?"
Yes.
And
What's-
what is that?
What's interesting?
I do not sense anyone is keeping eyes upon you, but I do sense there is some connection between you and these ley lines.
So the same connection as you felt with us, but devoid of the scrying.
Which means there's something divergent, perhaps two things.
Indeed.
What if we were to, as an option, and it is certainly your magic, I would say, what if I were to try to see if there was a way to dispel one and not the other? But there would be a risk to that.
And that risk would be?
You might lose the connection to the ley lines that I think is possibly an asset.
But also perhaps not critical to our success.
Correct.
How long would you need to determine?
10 minutes. Says looking right at him. I've already been casting it while I've been talking to you.
Oh, you can't do that?
Well, I'm level 6.
I do not like the idea of being spied upon by powers outside of here. I believe Cole being devoid of that connection furthers our theory in that. And I believe it is worth the risk of losing the ability to more profoundly affect the ley lines, as we are likely
Really?
to get rid of the scrying and perhaps
We could always do what we need to accomplish and then have her do it.
I would recommend that. Unless you think this angry wizard is a major threat, I can't imagine one wizard is worth the risk of everything that we're trying to accomplish.
We do
It's
not.
Zexa.
We do not know.
Zexa.
Zexa. The ruined wizard.
How do you know that?
Via the messenger of pain that came and visited upon me.
You share this information now?
I do.
We've been making eye contact for 10 minutes. I want to make sure he can see you too.
That is not something that is to information that is given without reservation, as there are many forces that may be acting against us. And the more I speak with you, the more I come to trust in you. But
What possible reason could that being in his decayed kingdom to the south have with the likes of you? She says, nodding more to Cole than anyone else.
have you yet considered what is causing the decoherence to occur within the ley lines? What do you think is causing that?
Are you implying that he is affecting things in some way, therefore, she's pain trying to think of an idea through, he would weaken the city for some sort of move on Calavier?
He is weakening Varen
He has stayed there for so long in his kingdom.
and consolidated and grown his power and his knowledge of what he needed to do to accomplish this, is my belief. I do know who seeks me. I do not yet know for certain why. But as you can see, like any motions towards all of the equations, I have abilities that and knowledge that few else possess. And if he seeks me because of this knowledge, then I believe he must be behind what is occurring.
You do not bring good news.
I am not a bearer of good news indeed, nor has the Grey Spell name often been such.
And
But I do parlay in the truth.
she looks at the paladin, Caven. You can verify this?
Yes, she came to us all. Cole was not there at the time.
I've heard that name.
What do you know of her, of the messenger?
Being used by Zexa in some conversations with some names I cannot remember, far to the north in the old Viceroy Empire long ago. But that's old folklore, old research, and I would never remember the name until you had just brought it up and would have left my mind for never to be thought of again.
Here is what I wish for us to do. I wish for us to be able to travel to Ganderlock through the teleportation devices. We will take Reginald with us. And we will need the ability, we will need the gems to be able to travel at least one more time. Beyond that, from Ganderlock to the other locations where we need to go. And in a point in time, we will shut down the nodes, the cascading arcs in those 3 locations, at a time agreed upon, so that you may seal the rift that is affecting Kanebren.
I must repeat my phrase again in a different meaning, but I do not care for this plan either.
I understand. But it is the...
Here is my suggestion. I immediately let the general of the army know, Have him on high alert that this could be a possible issue. Perhaps increase patrols more towards the south, less towards the Ironlands. Perhaps north as well, where the undead once reigned. Do not involve the queen in this at all, as she would do nothing but cause trouble, or she would cause trouble until it's absolutely necessary. I would have you stay here, or after what you just revealed, I would have you all move at once immediately and not give him any additional warning. I fear you may be tipping your hand by going to Ganderlock. And I'm even more hesitant to release and possibly release and cause any problem with the fissure here and bringing down our magical defenses. This is so much to take in. So much to take in that I could have used yesterday.
Indeed.
The scry is
But
still
I
upon
trusted
us.
you not enough yesterday to give that information to you.
And Guardian, what else has he not told me that I need to know tomorrow?
You must understand, we have just met. And we have been through such experiences that we do not easily trust. So far, you have shown us that you can be trusted to the level that we are showing you. But you cannot expect us to fully bring you in without knowing exactly your intentions.
She's frustrated, but she's looking at some sort of map like Tom is right now. She's trying to process it all.
All this being said, I agree with her ladyship. I think it's far too dangerous to break the connection between Zexa and ourselves. It would give away too much, and if that is the only upper hand we have against him, we should keep it for as long as possible.
What if we did a variant of that, minstrel? What if...
Bard.
What if I canceled that connection to you right as you left? So then there are mere moments. What did you say, Reginald? You said like maybe a half hour to an hour for Ganderlock as the farthest one. Then any tricks or plans or surprises are 1 hour. It's silence. Or you stay here and we figure this out. We spend the time and reinforce the magic here. We wait this out and use your research and capabilities to protect the city here. Let your associates do their adventuring and reconnaissance.
I fear the longer that we are tied to Zexa's spell, the more he will learn.
I'm greatly concerned about this now. My priority is even more so Kanebren, protecting Kanebren.
Magic has no limits and no boundaries. Protect Kanebren, protect Navarre, protect Thave, protect whatever you want. But there is no front from the south or the north or the west or the east. The magic is everywhere.
And I believe any assault from Zexa will not be mundane. It will be magical in nature, and I do not believe that increasing patrols in any single direction would provide any ability or aid at this time either.
You may be right. So
Yeah.
then we keep this to ourselves.
Yes.
I let no one else know in the Calavier circles. Not the queen, her advisors, the general,
No.
High Priest Sonus.
No one should know beyond you. No one else in the Cabal, if that can be
No one
prevented.
else in the Cabal. and Reginald.
Door boy, get out!
Reginald will be coming with us.
Caven
if that
pulls
is
out
at
his
all
hand axe.
possible.
Reginald says, "Can I?" And he comes in very close to you and leans over from behind your shoulder and says, "Don't worry, I can keep a secret."
Good.
She says, "I."
'Cause I will kill those that don't.
She says, "I can give you Reginald, but I would need another person. We have a rotation. It takes quite a bit of energy to commit to its constant work on the fissure. It's travel out, it's draining. We have 3 that come back and recover. I have another day before I have to go out. We drop someone, and now we're even more shorthanded. I could take someone else. I'm sure our Bard has capable magic. We could keep him."
Bard when it's convenient.
I'm in throw when it's not.
Reginald, do you believe you can teach me what is necessary so that I can learn to affect these portals?
You're gonna have to butter him up more than that.
Yeah, with a +7 maybe.
If you wanna-
trust me, it doesn't work.
If you want to come with me and show me.
Show me your ways. Teach me your
Roll
ways.
seduction.
Here's my hand.
Show me where the portal is that you want to use.
He says, "That's going to take quite some time. Yes, I would love that. I mean, we would have all summer."
You have 2 hours.
That's impossible.
I learn very quickly, Reginald. You'll find.
He says, I can tell you what I know, but it would take several months."
I don't think telling me what you know is going to take that long, Reginald.
There's a certain bond that has to be made.
I doubt that.
It's a very intimate, magical process.
It is not, I assure you.
Rings have to be exchanged. Tell him, priest. Rings have to be exchanged. Promises are made.
Vows.
Concentrate.
About 150 gold.
Consummation.
Well, one does what they must, but
Daenor says, "I still see no decision. Hear no decision."
Welcome
Indeed,
to the Inglorious Bards, lady.
You leave Reginald behind. We go on without him.
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Well, we are unable to provide any other member of our companionship to the cause. So unless you are able to find a replacement for yourself, Reginald, we will be unable to take you with us. But if you have a wizard handy that can take your spot here at the Cabal and aid in what the good Ms. Daenor seeks, then you may join us.
Daenor says, "It sounds as though you are turning down my plan and suggestion for you to remain, then."
That, or you all get Reginald.
We'll take Reginald.
He knows what he's doing. You can learn things. But we don't have the special connection bond thing, right?
It's not a thing you need.
Well, we're all
It
tied
does,
to the
it's
ley
not
line. I'm
real.
tied to the ley line.
Indeed.
I'm not being spied on by crazy.
Cole has a piece of
Scary
cord
ghost
wrapped
things.
around his wrist, trying to figure out how he ties
I
himself.
want
to
to
the
be a
ley
part
line.
of it. Why am I not included?
If I remain, Reginald could come with you, learn what is necessary in some time.
No. We would need to be together
Yeah.
to learn. There's so much you can show. Sorry. So there's a lot we can.
He's a shower, not a grower.
I think my companions are going to be give us a moment, please.
No. You're fine. Stay with him. That's okay.
And we'll kind of do a sidebar.
All right. all 6 of you away from Reginald.
Yes.
Okay.
and Daynor as
right.
well. We're
There's a lot of like heads coming up and looking, and then going back in.
yes,
Back in the
exactly.
house.
Shaking, no, pointing at
Pointing at
him.
Reginald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cole gives a look that's like a couple seconds too long and disappointing.
And we all have our hands on each other's lower back.
Reginald's so jealous. Yeah. What do we do, crew?
I think we still do Aragus's plan. She doesn't like it.
It's as I said an hour ago. Yeah, I don't want to take him. And I don't want you to stay. So
I don't know this guy.
He's
I don't
also
know
a
magic.
liability.
But I do know that you said 2 things. He's young, and he keeps effing up all of the equations. Whatever information he would be giving you is probably flawed anyway. You could figure it out yourself better. You already did. So let's go solve the problem. We'll tell them how we did it.
Indeed.
High five.
Very well. All right.
does he always high five himself?
Usually in the
That's how you
morning.
do it.
No, he just did a football break, though.
Make one high. The other's a 5.
Slap himself in the ass.
All right, you guys come out.
Here's what our intention is. It has only taken the full episode to come to it. We must decline your plan, and I do apologize, but due to the nature of what we face and the magics arrayed against us, I cannot part from my companions. As you said, we are all linked and marked together.
I understand.
Oh, you cannot spare Reginald, as you have said, unless we spare one of ours, and that we cannot do. So I ask merely for the ability for us to teleport to Ganderlock, and then enough gems that we can teleport one more time
All right.
from Ganderlock. And we must come to a time when you can expect the nodes, the cascading arcs, to be drawn back into coherence so that the rift can be sealed.
And you know how to cast the teleportation magic.
I will learn.
All right.
I will need 2 hours with Reginald before we leave.
I highly doubt that.
Do you have somebody more competent in teleportation magic?
Reginald is our resident expert, but
Then-
it takes quite a lot of time to figure that out.
Well, he will have to impart what he can in that time, and I will fill in the rest.
Yeah, you kind of see Aragus mimic the movements that he did just on the ground platform there without any actual magic. Be like, is it that with some spells?
She says there's spells that you would need to know to cast. You cannot just pick up. If I give you gems, you will fail and not be coming back.
I will need a scroll with the relevant spell then.
There is no scroll. I tried to tell you this.
Then Reginald, I will need 2 hours with Reginald then.
Well, no, hang on a second. If we're going to, I don't mean to interrupt, but if we're going to Ganderlock and they have a teleportation ring there, they probably have someone who knows how to use it there too.
No.
But it's not been used in quite some time.
There will likely be no one able to use it beyond myself.
Fiona will figure it out.
She pays you no heed.
You have a lot of optimism.
Is that what that's called? I thought it was just gas.
I would count on whatever you're doing with our teleportation to be a one-way trip.
If so, we will account for that. If I'm unable to reactivate the teleportation devices, we will travel.
If we can't teleport back,
We can.
we do have the advantage of the rivers flowing towards where we need to go.
Correct. And we can return to Kanebren through the river and teleport as necessary again.
How does this work, though, with what the Bard had mentioned and then I added on to of the whole scheme of removing what is the vision upon you?
Oh, it's as I said, dear lady. We teleport there, and we have a means of teleporting from there to the other locations. We don't know what it is yet,
But we don't.
but we know there can be one.
And you said you could break the bond upon our leaving?
There is a chance. We had talked that it could fail. I think it is worth a chance, but not if you're then going to tip your hand by going somewhere for purposes I'm still not clear on, to then come back or go somewhere else with a spell you don't know. This part has gotten very confusing for me. I think you're overcomplicating things.
Welcome to the Bards. Yet again. And I agree. We are. But yet, that is the plan that our crew has come up with, and that is the plan we will execute. We must ensure that everybody within our group is able to activate and take care of the cascading arcs, which they must learn how to do. The best place to do that will be in Ganderlock, where there will be a safe location to do so, where I will be able to give the proper instructions to accomplish such. I will spend time working with the teleportation device in the meantime. If I cannot reactivate it, we will, within a certain period of time, return via boat to Kanebren, where we will then teleport to different locations and take care of these cascading arcs, which will then allow you to collapse the rift. What is complicated about that?
You do not ask the time and energy that requires to know how to use an alignment rod. You make assumptions. You do not ask what is required to do a teleportation circle knowledge. You make assumptions, and then you're going to throw away the one surprise that we have of removing this thing or not.
Now,
or
just a
tipping
moment.
everything off.
The alignment rod was given to us from Reginald himself, with no instruction on how to use it. He simply intimated that we would know how to use it, and that it had some sort of code on it for us.
She says, Reginald, you've dealt with this. It seems simple, is what you said to me. And he says, oh, yes, it's quite simple. You get it close to the cascading arc. There's a device that's clear as day. I'm imagining it's sparking, and you get close to it and touch it to it. And if you can release some magical energy through yourself, it's able to help align it and I think, save the day, although you have hesitations, Daynor. Make an insight roll.
20.
You believe he's
Non-natural.
telling the truth.
There are many assumptions in the plan. The attuning rods are what they are. It seems like Reginald's knowledge at the forefront here is... I will be able to gain as much knowledge by working with the attuning rod at Ganderlock. I will gain what knowledge is necessary, impart that upon my friends. I will attempt to activate the teleportation devices. I am quite intelligent, mind you. And I refer back to the equations. And again, we have the backup plan that if that is not possible, we will float back down and leave from Kanebren. And as far as the tracking, the scrying, it is a risk either way. We leave it attached to us, and we could be found and sought out and face whatever is being thrown at us via that. And if we remove it, at least we do not have to face that, even though it may be made aware that we have removed such a thing and are aware of it, which may tip a hand, but it will...
Upon mentioning the name Zexa, it is no longer a risk you are willing to make. You don't get to have the only say now. This has huge implications and huge dangers, and it seems you are playing off the cuff a little too easily now.
Well, you have no manpower to address any of these other concerns, and we are the only ones capable of it. So tell me what option you have.
I have the option of requesting for you to stay and help us here, or splitting up and taking care of it per a better plan, and deciding whether or not how long I decide it will take for me to release the stones and provide Reginald to teleport you. Because now I'm becoming hesitant.
We will accomplish our goals with or without you, though I don't know what the next plan would be should you choose not to help us.
I want to be your ally, but if you're now talking about Zexa, And that is who you are confident, and with you reaffirming that, and you're going to tip your hand by suddenly arriving at what you believe is his tampering, but you're not doing anything about it, that seems incredibly foolish and risky.
Not doing anything about it.
Going there to learn how and possibly teleport back when we're telling you that is not possible?
And you're also very. Reginald is making, it seems like, some assumptions in the use of the attuning rod. Is that correct, Reginald? You are assuming certain knowledges.
He says, I'm assuming some arcana competence, yes?
All of the information that you have, and you can see Argus is getting a little curt, provided to you by whom? A rogue student of magic, not appreciated or consorted with any official agency. The only people you've gone to tell this, who he has gone to approach, are yourselves and the proper authorities, one of which threw him in a tower, never to be seen again, and eventually killed him. Now we come to you, hat in hand, offering you to fix the situation with no fee, no payment required. You have no one that you can fully trust. You said it yourself, the Queen is wish-washing herself at parties, doing all the like. We come to you seeking true justice, to fix this world, to clean the magic, to fix the rifts. And you say that we sow doubt? I feel your hesitation is what is causing this rift. We simply denied you information based on the little trust we have, certainly warranted not trusting anyone in our ventures thus far. It is up to us what we do next, whether with your help or without. We would appreciate your help, but make no mistake, we will do this without you if we must.
And we will give you a time in which we intend to close the cascading arcs, and what you do with then, I would recommend in that moment you be prepared to seal the rift.
We simply give you back these alignment rods, and you can consort with the Queen, the King of any kingdom you like.
We'll be keeping
We
the
will
alignment
keep the
rods.
alignment rods.
I'm saying, without our help, they are...
Like the both of them
Nothing.
are like something holding you back. Whoa. Okay.
I simply say, we must come together in this time, not let our frustrations get the better of us. Here is a new proposal. We go to Ganderlock, and if we have not done what we need to do within, let us say, a week's time, then Reginald can come to Ganderlock via teleportation and help us. That surely would give us a way to get to the other locations. You have an eye on us, possibly teaching him how to break the connection between Zexa and ourselves at that time, so we don't give anything away. And then allowing us to part ways once again, once in Ganderlock. I'm not sure exactly what it is we all need to do, but I do know it must be done somewhat fairly quickly. These rifts are only getting greater and more, as we see by these maps.
May I answer you, my new friend?
Please.
I agree with your last statement. Quickly is better than not. And I agree with everything you said before that, until I found out this morning that Zexa was behind. If it was just you coming to us, providing some information, asking some questions, that was one thing. Mentioning Zexa and that is whom you believe is following you or watching you changes things. And now what I'm hearing is the plan that you are devising is to go off to Ganderlock and kind of wing it and kind of figure it out. What I would suggest is you have come here, you have provided information, take the knowledge that the Cabal is offering you and use it. And the knowledge we are offering is keep your wizard here. Do what you want, gather information perhaps here in the city, but do not go to any of those locations and tip your hat that he then would know what you're doing. Or go take care of all three at the same time. The middle ground, I think, is a terrible disaster. If it is indeed Zexa, and I am trusting those two over there that is the case. If it is not, then my concerns are unwarranted. If it is just some random wizards upset at you, then it's not a threat at all. My worry is tipping the hat is a problem.
She does make sense in that. And our original plan of all going to Ganderlock together is as
Crumbly.
indeed.
Crumble
Fiona
shanks.
seems to be
You started it.
as more important matters have come up, it seems Fiona is less concerned about her previous intentions. I would still like to see that done if possible, but I appreciate
It's
your
definitely not the most important thing we're dealing with.
I appreciate your understanding in that, Fiona. Then the other plan is we learn what we must here, and then travel separately to the
Cascading
Arcs. Thank you. I'm getting tired of this debate, and
I'm struggling to agree with what we can know about these things from so far away. We barely knew
There are
about the
many
ley lines
things-
themselves without
We have an
interacting
alignment
with them.
rods.
there are many things we can learn here. We can learn from the Cabal. There are other things that I can garner. I might be able to also deal with Reginald enough to gain the knowledge on how to teleport ourselves, so that we,
Or at least to use the alignment rods, so that we
Yes.
could each do that and then go straight from here to there.
and I can study that here as necessary and come up with what I believe will be functional plans in order to execute that plan.
While I think that is not the best plan, it is better than the other one we had talked about. I would prefer you to stay. With that said, I am here for one more day before I must take my turn at the fissure, and am available tomorrow, throughout today and tomorrow, for any questions or information you need or resources I can help provide.
Let's take the rest of the day, learn about how to use these alignment rods.
How far away is the fissure?
It's 5 hours to the west by northwest.
There is, if we do stay here, I do need to travel to that fissure as well. That might provide insight.
Cole, why don't you and I stay here and see if we can get a meeting with that Starseer person?
Sure. And then learn about the alignment rods.
Yes.
I repeated a third time.
Yes, as I said.
Okay.
Yes.
Break. It's lunchtime. We've been talking here for 4 hours.
Door boy.
So, new plan. Sounds like we're
Stay here.
staying in Kanebren. I mean, I have to be honest. I agree with Daynor in that it is dangerous to go to one with being scried. I think she is correct in that. So I believe when we go to all three.
And break the
just-
scry first if we can.
Yes, or directly after. Because once we go to all three, do what we need to do, and
So going gives away our position. Breaking it gives away our position.
correct.
What's the
Break
difference?
then go.
Breaking it only gives away the fact that we recognize
were
that
aware
we
of
were
them.
being
Yeah.
scried on. It
And then
doesn't give away-
redoubles those efforts to reattach that, which means that they will be seeking, actively
Don't go
seeking
to sleep.
versus passively seeking.
I suppose. Just means we either do it before we travel, or we travel and then break it. So it's
Right.
just-
And then don't sleep.
yeah, it's
So we
just-
come back.
Are we doing it in Kanebren or
My thought would be to break it right before we all go to take care of the aligning rods, or go take care of the aligning rods, and then return and break it. But I would
I think-
rather break it first.
I
Yeah.
think break it first. That way
For
they
sure.
don't see you there.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a course of action then.
Right?
We will remain in Kanebren, remain with the Cabal, learn what we can about the attuning rods. I will go to the fissure at some point, learn what I can there. I will absorb whatever limited knowledge Reginald has about the teleportation devices, learn what we can there, and then see what happens. And then the plan will eventually be to, once we are prepared, go in 3 teams to use the aligning rods at the cascading arcs in each of the 3 places and go from there.
Very well. I will send word to the fissure of what the decision has been made.
I would say correct everybody, but I'm so afraid somebody would argue with that. So let's just do it.
I will let them know. I will not mention the name we spoke of today, nor will you, Reginald. And I will be here again for what you may need. And I hope this is not a morning we regret in the future.
I already regret this morning.
Aragus and Cole, you were doing something.
He's taken me to where the Star Seer
The
was.
Star Seer.
Yeah, we walk out the door, take 2 steps, and look across the street.
And you're right there. You go there and you open up the door and you see there is a table there and a decrepit, a little hunched over, not dark, but more gray mottled skinned woman with frazzled hair, a strange bandana barely holding it up, thin arms, and she has a crystal ball, very on the nose, touristy looking crystal ball in the middle of the table. And she says, "Yes, come in. I was expecting you."
You were?
She looks up. "Yes,
It's fantastic. So you know why we're here.
I do."
Then go ahead and spill it. We have a lot to do today.
She stands up and says, "It costs some coin for my time."
All right. You go first, then we'll get coin.
"That is not how this works."
So sorry. Here's copper.
What do you drop?
I reach into my pocket. You know what? I'm going to reach in my pocket. And I'm going to grab one of these. One of these. One of these. I grab 1 gold, 1 silver, and 6 copper.
That is the exact price I knew you would pay. And she takes it.
25 gold.
Just curious what you rolled for the gold.
That was a D8.
Yeesh.
D8 for the gold, D10 for the silver, and D6 for the copper.
Oosh. All right. What did you roll for the gold?
1, 1, and a 6. I rolled a D8 die. That's what I rolled.
She says, "Very well." She scoops up the coins and says, "Follow me." And she steps over to a strange metallic cage at the far side of the room and gets into it. It's very small and you barely would fit in there.
I can feel that.
But your halfling can join you very easily.
I can fit in the space of any creature, you know.
You're like a cat.
You duck down.
I'm in, I'm out. I'm
Touch
in,
my
I'm out.
butt. Touch my butt.
You duck down low. Aragus, you slip in and you feel it sway. You're in some sort of suspended device, and it feels quite unstable and creaks. And she slowly, with 2 hands, rotates with a ratcheting sound. And the door slowly closes. And then she says, "Oh, could you scoot?" And then another wheel she moves.
Sorry.
And then you feel a jolt. And this little cage contraption starts to lower down and down and down. The room above disappears. The city street disappears. It grows dark as you descend beneath the city. And she says, "I have much to share about the end of the Ren." And we will stop there for tonight.
Wow.
We will thank you so much for joining us. We're so grateful for you tuning in. We will see you next time, folks.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Goodbye.